My friends, understand that being alone is a calling, a sacred initiation, crafted not as punishment, but as preparation. In solitude, you aren't abandoned, you're invited to uncover the essence of divinity dwelling within you. Imagine the silence that surrounds you as a temple, a space where every distraction falls away, leaving only you and the Creator of all things. In the silence of solitude, we find a divine invitation. Many see aloneness as loneliness or as something to escape, but this experience is in fact a sacred preparation, a period of divine crafting where God molds you for a higher purpose. Often, when we are surrounded by others, our focus is directed outward, and we respond to the demands of social norms, to the expectations of family, friends, and society. But when we are alone, stripped of distractions and obligations, we begin to truly understand who we are and what we are meant to become. Imagine that being alone is a place where you can finally lay down the weight of societal conditioning. From the time we are born, we are told who we should be, what we should want, and where we should go. This conditioning runs deep, and it forms layers over our authentic selves, masking our true desires and dreams. In aloneness, these layers begin to fall away. You are left with nothing but the raw, unpolished version of yourself. This unpolished self may seem unfamiliar, even uncomfortable, but it is also free from the artificial demands of the outside world. It is the self that is closest to divine truth, the self that exists beyond ego, fear, and doubt. When you find yourself in this space, know that it is not abandonment, it is God's way of drawing you back to your essence. Solitude provides a space where you can cultivate resilience and fortify your spirit. In the presence of others, we may lean on them for support, validation, or encouragement. But alone, you learn that true strength comes from within. It's as though God places you in this setting to show you the resilience you didn't know you had, to reveal that you are capable of withstanding the storms of life without crumbling. In this silence, you discover a source of strength that has been with you all along, a strength that is not contingent on external circumstances. This resilience becomes a tool that you will carry with you, a foundation on which you can build a life that is unshakable, no matter the challenges you face. When God brings you into a period of solitude, it is also a time of discernment, a period to clarify your path. In a world filled with opinions, judgments, and comparisons, it is easy to lose sight of what you truly desire, of what is genuinely in alignment with your soul. Aloneness gives you the clarity to see what is yours to pursue, what is worth your energy, and what you must release. God does not want you to chase after every fleeting whim or to follow paths simply because others have said they are worthwhile. Rather, in the quiet, you learn to listen to the deepest parts of yourself, to hear what you truly yearn for. It is as though God is asking you to cleanse your vision, to rid yourself of the illusions that others have placed before you, so that you may walk a path that is truly your own. This time alone is also about learning to trust the divine process, to let go of the need for constant reassurance or validation. In solitude, you are asked to surrender your need to know every detail of how your journey will unfold. It is a call to let go of control and to trust that the path before you is unfolding in perfect timing, even when you cannot see every step. This trust is essential because it creates a faith that is unbreakable, a faith that endures even in the face of uncertainty. God prepares you in this solitude to be unwavering, to be grounded in a belief that you are guided and supported, even when you stand alone. One of the greatest gifts of aloneness is the freedom it brings. Alone, you no longer seek to perform or to prove yourself to others. There is no one to impress, no one to appease, and in this freedom, you can explore who you are without constraint. You can express yourself authentically, allowing your true nature to surface without fear of judgment. This freedom is not merely a release from social expectations, it is the liberation of your spirit, the unleashing of your creative potential. When you come to know this freedom, you carry it with you, even when you return to the presence of others. You are no longer bound by the need for approval, for you have come to know the profound liberation that God has gifted you through this period of aloneness. In this preparation, God is also teaching you self-love, a love that is independent of others' affections or attention. Alone, you learn to embrace yourself wholly, to appreciate your own company, to nurture yourself in ways that are deep and fulfilling. This self-love becomes the cornerstone of every relationship you will have. When you love yourself, you no longer enter relationships out of need or fear. You connect from a place of abundance, from a place of strength. This self-love creates a foundation for genuine, healthy relationships because it is rooted in an understanding of your own worth and completeness. So if you find yourself alone, remember that this is not a punishment or a sign of deficiency. It is God's way of readying you for a life of purpose, joy, and fulfillment. This is a sacred time, a precious season where you are given the chance to grow, to heal, to strengthen, and to rediscover the divinity that resides within you. Embrace this preparation, for when you emerge from it, you will carry a peace, a strength, and a clarity that no one can take from you. There lies an invitation to experience something beyond the ordinary, a meeting with the divine presence within. When we are alone, the noise of the world fades, and with it, all the external expectations, opinions, and judgments that so often shape how we perceive ourselves. This aloneness is a sacred gift, a time when we are drawn inward to discover that the divinity we have searched for outwardly has been quietly present within us all along. Most people seek comfort, validation, and guidance from the outside world, relying on the opinions of others, on social structures, and on relationships. Yet there comes a time when this seeking leads us to feel incomplete, restless, and even discontented. There is a divine purpose to this discomfort. It is as if God is calling you to shift your gaze inward, to cease looking outside for what can only be found within. In this solitude, you begin to encounter your inner divinity, a process that transforms your understanding of who you are and what it means to be connected to something greater. In moments of solitude, we confront the layers of ourselves that we may have hidden, ignored, or dismissed. Without the distractions of daily life, we meet parts of ourselves we didn't know existed, parts we might have neglected in our attempts to fit into societal molds. This unveiling is necessary because these hidden aspects are often the keys to our inner divinity. Divine truth resides not in some lofty, unattainable part of us, but in these very parts we may have overlooked. Through accepting these facets of ourselves, we come to understand that divinity is not something external or foreign. It is the very essence of who we are at our core. Encountering this inner divinity is a process of deepening self-awareness. It is as though the light within begins to shine brighter, illuminating the beliefs, patterns, and emotions that cloud our vision of ourselves. Through this illumination, we start to see our true nature, a nature that is compassionate, wise, and inherently connected to the divine source. The more we connect with this aspect of ourselves, the less dependent we become on external approval, and the more we begin to rely on the guidance of this inner voice, this divine presence that knows our path more intimately than anyone else ever could. This journey within also brings us face to face with our fears and doubts. In solitude, we have no one else to hide behind, no distractions to shield us from our insecurities. It can be an uncomfortable experience as we confront the voices of fear and inadequacy that have, perhaps unconsciously, driven many of our choices. Yet it is here, in the midst of these fears, that the divine presence within begins to make itself known. Instead of being swallowed by these fears, you start to see them as temporary, as illusions born from past conditioning, rather than as reflections of your true self. The inner divinity begins to emerge as a voice of calm, of reassurance, a steady presence that tells you that you are enough, that you are guided, and that there is nothing to fear. Through this encounter, a profound sense of peace and trust begins to develop. You start to understand that you are connected to something vast and wise, something that has always been guiding you. In those quiet moments, you realize that the divine within you is not separate from you, it is you. It is the source of your intuition, your inspiration, and your strength. This realization is transformative because it shifts the way you move through life. No longer do you seek answers from others as fervently as you once did. You learn to trust the insights and wisdom that arise from within, knowing that this inner guidance is aligned with the divine plan for your life. In connecting with this inner divinity, you also become aware of the love that dwells within you, a love that is not dependent on any external conditions. This love is unconditional, boundless, and deeply healing. It is the love of the divine that sees you as whole, as complete, just as you are. When you connect with this love, you realize that you no longer need to chase after love in the outside world. You are love, and this realization changes the way you relate to yourself and to others. You begin to let go of relationships, habits, and situations that do not honor this divine love within you. In their place, you cultivate relationships and circumstances that reflect the peace, joy, and love you now carry within. This encounter with your inner divinity also awakens a sense of purpose. You understand that you are not here by accident, that your life has meaning beyond mere survival or superficial success. This purpose is not something that can be defined by society's standards. It is unique to you, a calling that only you can fulfill. This divine purpose may not reveal itself all at once, but in solitude, you begin to sense its presence, to feel its gentle pull guiding you in a certain direction. You realize that your purpose is not something you have to strive for or achieve in the traditional sense. It is an unfolding, a journey of becoming that is guided by the divine presence within. In this sacred encounter with your inner divinity, you find a source of strength, love, and wisdom that empowers you to live authentically. You no longer feel the need to conform to the expectations of others or to seek approval from the outside world. Instead, you move forward with a deep sense of peace, knowing that you are guided and supported by the divine presence within. This inner divinity becomes your compass, leading you toward experiences, relationships, and opportunities that are aligned with your true self. When you encounter your inner divinity, you begin to live a life that is grounded, purposeful, and filled with a sense of connection to something greater. You understand that you are never truly alone, because the divine presence within you is always there, guiding you, loving you, and supporting you on every step of your journey. In the stillness of silence, there is a power that cannot be found amidst the constant noise and activity of the outside world. Silence often feels daunting because in it we are left with only ourselves, our thoughts, our fears, and our hopes. But it is in this very silence that an unshakable strength is born, a strength that isn't dependent on external forces, a strength rooted deeply within the soul. When you allow yourself to step away from the noise, from the distractions of daily life, you create space for something profound to unfold within you. Silence strips away the demands and expectations that society places upon you, as well as the identities you might take on to meet those demands. When the external voices fade, you begin to hear the voice within. This is the voice of your true self, your inner wisdom, and ultimately the divine. Strength born from silence isn't about hardening yourself or pushing through life's challenges by sheer force. It's about becoming resilient through understanding and inner peace. You come face to face with who you truly are, beyond roles, titles, or labels. When you sit with yourself in this way, there is no one to impress, no one to convince. You are left with only yourself, which can initially be uncomfortable. All your insecurities, doubts, and fears rise to the surface when there is nothing to distract you from them. But instead of being overwhelming, this process is transformative. In the silence, you start to see these fears for what they truly are, thoughts and feelings that, while powerful, do not define you. You learn to separate yourself from your thoughts, realizing that they are not as permanent or as true as they might seem in the heat of the moment. You begin to experience a deeper, more resilient part of yourself, your awareness, your consciousness, the part of you that remains unchanged by external circumstances. Silence teaches you to stop reacting to every situation or impulse. Often, life can feel like a series of reactions, one after another, as we rush from one task to the next, trying to keep up with external expectations. In silence, however, you begin to cultivate the power of response over reaction. There is a subtle difference, yet it is profound. Reaction is immediate and often driven by emotions or conditioning response. On the other hand, comes from a place of calm reflection, from an awareness that has considered all aspects of a situation. Silence gives you the space to respond, rather than react, allowing you to move through life with greater intention and clarity. One of the most powerful lessons silence imparts is the ability to listen, truly listen, not just to others but to yourself. Often our inner voice is drowned out by the noise of the outside world, by the demands of work, relationships, and societal expectations. In silence, however, you begin to hear this voice clearly. This is not the voice of your ego, which speaks from a place of fear and desire, but the voice of your intuition, your inner wisdom. This voice, quiet yet unwavering, knows what you truly need, even when your conscious mind might be focused elsewhere. Through silence, you learn to trust this voice, to recognize its truth, and to rely on it as a guiding force in your life. This inner strength that grows in silence is not about being unaffected by life's challenges. Rather, it is about developing the capacity to meet those challenges from a place of inner calm. When you are rooted in this strength, you are less likely to be shaken by the ups and downs of life. You begin to understand that your peace is not something that can be taken away by external circumstances because it is not dependent on them. It arises from within, from your connection to your true self, a self that is grounded in the eternal rather than in the transient. Through silence, you also begin to cultivate patience, both with yourself and with others. In a world that values speed and productivity, silence teaches you that growth and transformation cannot be rushed. True strength, the kind that is lasting and unshakable, requires time and patience to develop. In silence, you come to accept this pace, recognizing that every moment of solitude, every quiet reflection, is contributing to your inner growth. The strength that comes from silence allows you to navigate relationships with greater ease and authenticity. When you are at peace with yourself, when you have faced your own fears and insecurities, you are less likely to project these onto others. You can approach relationships from a place of wholeness rather than neediness or fear. You no longer seek validation or approval, because you have found a source of validation within. This makes you a more compassionate, understanding, and patient presence in the lives of those around you, for you have learned to offer yourself these same qualities. Silence is a form of communion with the divine, a space where you reconnect with the sacred essence within you. This connection is where true strength lies. You realize that you are never truly alone, that there is a presence within you that is vast, wise, and unconditionally loving. This presence is your source of strength, a strength that can face any challenge, because it is not limited by the human mind or body. It is a strength that arises from your connection to the infinite, to the divine that exists within you and around you. In a world that often sees silence as empty or passive, you come to understand that it is, in fact, full of potential and power. It is in silence that you gather the courage to pursue your deepest dreams, to honor your true self, and to live a life that is aligned with your highest purpose. This strength through silence is not something that you can measure or quantify, but it is felt in every decision you make, in the peace you carry, and in the resilience you exhibit. It is the strength of knowing who you are, of being connected to something greater than yourself, and of moving through life with a sense of purpose and calm that no external force can disrupt. So if you find yourself in silence, embrace it. Let it become your sanctuary, a place where you return again and again to reconnect with your inner strength. I end the journey towards self-discovery. There comes a point where we must confront and understand the nature of our desires. Desires are the motivating forces of our lives. They shape our actions, color our perceptions, and dictate much of our experience. But not all desires serve our highest good. Many desires are rooted in temporary satisfaction, in ego, and in attachment to the material world. The process of purification is not about eliminating desire, but about transforming it, understanding which desires truly serve our spiritual growth, and which ones keep us bound to illusion and limitation. Purification of desires is a gradual shedding of the layers that separate us from our true nature. The desires that arise from fear, from the need to prove ourselves, or from a sense of lack, are like clouds obscuring the light of our inner self. These desires can feel urgent and consuming, pushing us to seek fulfillment in ways that are often fleeting. Yet over time, these same desires reveal their inability to bring us lasting happiness, as they are tied to an ever-changing world. In the silence of reflection, we begin to see that many of our desires do not come from a place of wholeness. Rather, They are attempts to fill an emptiness that can only truly be satisfied by connecting with the divine. The first step in this purification is awareness, becoming conscious of the nature and origins of our desires. Without judgment or guilt, we observe ourselves, looking closely at the motivations behind our wants. Are they born from fear of missing out, from a need to impress, or from a desire to control? Often, what we think we want is not the object itself, but the feeling we believe it will bring: security, love, validation, or power. Through self-inquiry, we begin to distinguish between desires that are transient and self-centered, and those that come from a place of genuine love, compassion, and truth. As we purify our desires, we begin to recognize that many of our wants were reflections of social conditioning rather than authentic expressions of our soul. Society often tells us that success, wealth, status, and popularity are the markers of a meaningful life. However, when we examine these values in the quiet of introspection, we may find that they hold little real satisfaction. True fulfillment comes not from conforming to societal expectations, but from aligning with our inner calling, our higher purpose. Purified desires are those that reflect the essence of who we are beyond our personality and our social roles. They are the desires that nourish our spirit, that guide us towards self-realization rather than self-aggrandizement. The process of purification also involves letting go of attachment. Many of our desires are tied to a specific outcome or result, and when we cling to these expectations, we create suffering. Attachment makes us believe that our happiness depends on obtaining or achieving something outside ourselves, whether it's a particular job, a relationship, or a certain lifestyle. In truth, these external attachments often distract us from our inner peace. To purify desire is to release the need for any specific outcome and to embrace a sense of trust in the unfolding of life. When we let go of attachment, we open ourselves to the possibility that there may be a higher plan, a divine wisdom guiding our lives in ways that we may not immediately understand. Purified desire then becomes a desire for connection, for truth, and for love. It is no longer about accumulating or achieving, but about aligning with our divine nature. This desire is unselfish. It seeks not to take but to give, not to possess but to experience. When our desires are purified, they transform into expressions of service, compassion, and love. Rather than seeking to gain something from the world, we become inspired to bring forth our gifts, to share our light, and to uplift others. This shift from selfish to selfless desire is a profound transformation, one that brings a deep sense of peace and fulfillment. This purification process is not one of deprivation but of liberation. As we release the desires that no longer serve us, we free ourselves from the burdens and limitations they impose. We become lighter, more open, more present to the beauty of each moment. Purified desires do not pull us out of the present into a future that may or may not come to pass. They allow us to fully inhabit each moment, to engage with life as it is. This presence brings with it a joy that is independent of circumstances, a joy that arises from within and is not contingent on anything outside ourselves. Through this purification, we also come to see that desire itself is an expression of the divine impulse within us. It is not that desires are inherently wrong, but that they need to be aligned with the true nature of our being. When we purify our desires, we align them with the highest good, with the intention to grow, to love, to understand, and to serve. In doing so, our desires become expressions of the divine will, and we find that our life flows with a sense of harmony and purpose. The journey of purification is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. As we grow, we encounter new layers of desire, new attachments to release, and deeper truths to embody. This path requires patience, compassion, and honesty with ourselves. It is a journey of self-discovery that brings us closer to our true nature and to the divine presence that resides within us. In purified desire, we find a profound sense of freedom. No longer are we chasing after fleeting goals or temporary pleasures. Instead, we are motivated by a love for life itself, a desire to experience the depth and beauty of existence in every form. This purified desire is expansive and inclusive. It connects us to all of life, to the oneness that underlies all of creation. Through it, we transcend the small self and step into a larger, more universal expression of who we are. Purification of desires brings us into alignment with the divine purpose for our lives. We find that our desires, once purified, become the very means through which the divine expresses itself in the world. They are no longer about self-gain, but about self-realization, about fulfilling the purpose for which we were created. Through purified desires, we become instruments of peace, love, and light, and in this we find the fulfillment we have always sought. The journey toward unveiling one's authentic self is a journey homeward, a path to rediscovering the true essence that lies beneath layers of conditioning, expectations, and roles adopted through life. For most, the notion of self is shaped largely by the outer world. We take on roles assigned by family, society, and career, and in doing so, we often lose sight of our innermost self, the one that existed before any labels, titles, or masks were applied. Unveiling the authentic self requires courage, reflection, and a willingness to go beyond the familiar territory of ego-driven identities into the boundless landscape of our true nature. To begin this process, we must first understand that the authentic self is not something created, it is something uncovered. Beneath the myriad layers of identity, preferences, and social personas, there is a core self that has remained unchanged. This self is constant, unaffected by the opinions of others, unaltered by success or failure, and untouched by life's passing circumstances. Yet to access this core self, we must be willing to examine and question the illusions we've accepted as me. This journey is often uncomfortable, as it requires dismantling the defenses and personas that once felt like sources of protection and security. However, what we find in their place is a clarity and peace that no external validation can offer. One of the first steps in unveiling the authentic self is to question the beliefs and assumptions we have accepted about ourselves and the world. Many of these beliefs are inherited, shaped by family, culture, and society rather than by personal experience or truth. We are told who we should be, what success looks like, and how we ought to behave. These messages are often well-meaning, yet they limit us, forcing us into roles that may not align with our true nature. Through honest self-inquiry, we begin to see which parts of our identity are truly ours and which are borrowed from others. This is a process of letting go, of recognizing that our authentic self does not need to conform to any external standards. It exists independently, whole and complete, beyond any conditioning. To unveil the authentic self, we must also become comfortable with solitude and introspection. In silence, free from the expectations of others, we create a space for our true nature to emerge. In this stillness, we listen not to the thoughts that race through our minds, but to the deeper, quieter voice within. This voice is not loud or forceful, it is subtle, like a whisper. It is often drowned out by the noise of daily life, by the pressures of work, relationships, and societal demands. But when we sit with ourselves in silence, we begin to recognize this voice as our true guide, a compass pointing us toward the life that resonates with our soul. An essential part of this journey is facing the parts of ourselves that we may have hidden or denied. The authentic self includes not only our strengths but also our vulnerabilities, insecurities, and fears. These aspects are not flaws, they are part of our humanity. To unveil our true self, we must embrace these parts with compassion rather than judgment. Often we fear that if others see these parts of us, we will be rejected or judged. However, it is in embracing our wholeness, both light and shadow, that we find true liberation. This acceptance allows us to be fully present, to show up in life as we are without needing to pretend or prove anything. Unveiling the authentic self also involves letting go of the need for external approval. We are often taught that our worth depends on the acceptance of others, on their opinions and judgments. This belief creates a constant pressure to conform, to mold ourselves to fit expectations. Yet, the authentic self is not bound by the opinions of others. It knows its own value, independent of praise or criticism. As we detach from the need for approval, we discover a profound sense of freedom. We are no longer driven by the desire to impress or please. Instead, we are guided by an inner integrity, a commitment to live in alignment with our true values and desires. The authentic self is not separate from life but deeply connected to it. When we unveil this self, we realize that we are not isolated individuals, but part of a greater whole. Our actions, thoughts, and intentions have an impact on others and on the world around us. Now, this understanding awakens a sense of responsibility, not out of obligation but out of love. We no longer act from a place of self-interest alone, we act in ways that contribute to the well-being of all. This interconnectedness is not something that can be intellectually understood, it must be felt. And it is only when we unveil our true self that we can experience this unity in its fullness. As we journey inward, we may also discover gifts, talents, and passions that have long been dormant, buried beneath layers of fear or doubt. These gifts are not accidents, they are expressions of our unique essence. Unveiling the authentic self means allowing these gifts to shine, not for recognition, but as an offering to the world. Each of us has a unique purpose, a role to play in the larger tapestry of life. When we connect with our authentic self, we naturally align with this purpose. Life becomes not a series of tasks to be accomplished, but a joyful expression of who we are. Living from the authentic self does not mean that life will be free from challenges. However, when we live from this place of truth, we are no longer swayed by every external circumstance. We remain grounded, resilient, and capable of navigating life's ups and downs with grace. The authentic self is like an anchor, keeping us steady amidst life's storms. It is a source of strength, peace, and joy that cannot be found in the external world. In unveiling the authentic self, we come home to ourselves. We stop seeking fulfillment outside and realize that everything we have ever sought is already within us. This journey is a return to the simplicity of being, a shedding of everything that is not truly ours. And in this state of being, we find a profound joy, a peace that surpasses understanding, and a love that encompasses all. It is a journey worth taking, for in unveiling our authentic self, we discover the beauty, power, and divinity that resides within. This is our true nature, our essence, and our greatest gift to the world. Building faith and trust is an inner journey, a conscious cultivation of belief in both the unseen forces of the universe and the deep wisdom within ourselves. Faith and trust, though often spoken of together, are distinct yet intertwined qualities. Faith is the invisible thread that connects us to something greater than ourselves, an abiding confidence in the guidance of a higher power or the intelligence of life itself. Trust, on the other hand, is the willingness to lean into that connection, to release control and open to life as it unfolds. Together they empower us to face uncertainty, adversity, and the unknown with grace and resilience. Developing faith requires an acknowledgement that we cannot always see the path ahead. It calls for a relinquishing of the mind's desire for certainty and a surrendering to the flow of life. Faith is born not from what is tangible or logical, but from a deep inner knowing that there is purpose and order beyond what we can comprehend. This knowing often emerges from personal experience, moments of synchronicity, the feeling of being guided, or the realization that some unseen force has sustained us even in our darkest times. Building faith, then, is like strengthening a muscle. It grows through conscious practice, through turning inward and listening to the quiet wisdom that arises when we stop looking outward for validation. One of the most powerful ways to cultivate faith is to become comfortable with uncertainty. The mind craves answers and security, yet true faith asks us to release these attachments. Life's uncertainties are not meant to be feared but embraced, for they are the fertile ground where faith takes root. When we step into the unknown, we create space for new possibilities, for growth that would not be possible within the confines of the familiar. This willingness to face the unknown with an open heart is the essence of faith, for it shows our trust in a universe that is infinitely intelligent and supportive, even when we cannot see the full picture. Trusting the journey is also an essential aspect of this inner work. While faith is the seed, trust is the act of nurturing it. Trusting the journey means accepting that each moment, Each experience, whether joyful or painful, is an integral part of our path. It's easy to trust life when things are going well, yet the true measure of trust is our response during times of challenge or loss. In those moments, we are asked to trust that even what seems difficult or unfair is serving a higher purpose, helping us grow in ways we may not yet understand. Trust allows us to be patient and to surrender our need to control outcomes. It is a deep surrender to life's timing, a recognition that what is meant for us will never miss us, and what is not meant for us will ultimately fall away. Building faith and trust also involves letting go of our attachment to how things should be. We are often conditioned to believe that life should unfold in a particular way, that certain accomplishments, relationships, or circumstances are necessary for happiness. However, these attachments can create inner turmoil, for they often do not align with the unfolding of our true path. Faith asks us to release these rigid expectations and to trust that what is happening is exactly what is needed. When we let go of attachment, we free ourselves from the constant push and pull of desire and aversion, opening ourselves to a sense of peace that comes from accepting life on its own terms. Another profound aspect of building faith and trust is learning to listen to our intuition. Intuition is the voice of our inner wisdom, a quiet yet powerful guide that speaks not through words but through feelings, insights, and inner knowing. Trusting our intuition requires faith in ourselves, in our ability to sense what is right, even if it defies logic or convention. Our intuition is like a compass, pointing us in the direction of our true path. However, to follow it, we must silence the doubts and fears of the mind, trusting that this inner guidance is leading us where we need to go. Each time we act on our intuition, we strengthen our faith in our own inner wisdom, cultivating a deeper sense of trust in ourselves and in the path that is unfolding. Faith and trust also grow through gratitude and mindfulness. When we cultivate gratitude for each experience, we affirm our belief that every moment holds a lesson, a gift, or an opportunity for growth. Gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have, reminding us that life is abundant and supportive. This practice helps to build trust in life itself, as we begin to see that even the smallest blessings are signs of the universe's generosity. Mindfulness, too, is essential in building faith, as it keeps us grounded in the present moment. When we are fully present, we are no longer lost in fears about the future or regrets about the past. We become open to the magic of life as it is, here and now. This awareness brings a sense of peace, a feeling of being held by something greater than ourselves. Building faith and trust is about aligning with the flow of life rather than resisting it. It is about surrendering the need for answers, for control, and for certainty, and embracing the mystery of existence. This surrender is not a weakness but a strength, for it allows us to be resilient, adaptable, and open to transformation. Faith and trust give us the courage to face life's challenges without losing hope, to walk through dark valleys knowing that there is light on the other side. In this journey, we come to see that faith and trust are not abstract concepts but living, breathing forces within us. They are the quiet courage that allows us to keep going, the inner peace that sustains us when things fall apart. They remind us that we are never truly alone, that we are connected to a vast and loving intelligence that guides us at every step. As we build faith and trust, we begin to live from a place of inner strength, knowing that we are supported, that life is unfolding exactly as it should, and that we are exactly where we need to be. This is the gift of faith and trust, a deep-seated peace, an unwavering confidence in the journey, and an abiding love for the mystery of life itself. Freedom from attachment is not simply the absence of desire, it is a profound shift in how we relate to the people, circumstances, and things in our lives. Attachment binds us, not because we care deeply, but because we begin to believe that our happiness, worth, or identity depends on something outside of ourselves. This belief traps us in a cycle of need and dissatisfaction, creating a constant chase for fulfillment that ultimately leaves us feeling empty or restless. True freedom from attachment is the liberation of the self, a return to inner wholeness where our sense of joy and peace is no longer reliant on external conditions. To begin the journey toward freedom from attachment, we must first understand the nature of attachment itself. Attachment stems from our tendency to equate having with being. We attach ourselves to possessions, people, or achievements because we believe that they define us. Society often reinforces this attachment by promoting the idea that success, relationships, or status can provide lasting happiness. But as soon as we begin identifying with these things, they become conditions for our contentment. We become anxious, fearing their loss, or constantly striving to obtain them. This creates a mindset where our inner state is dictated by the presence or absence of external factors, placing us in a cycle of dependency that restricts our ability to experience true joy and peace. A key step in achieving freedom from attachment is to recognize that everything in life is temporary. People, possessions, situations, they all come and go. No matter how tightly we cling to them, we cannot prevent change or loss. Recognizing this impermanence does not mean we become detached in a cold, indifferent way. Rather, it allows us to appreciate each experience, each relationship, each moment, without expecting them to last forever or define us. By accepting the temporary nature of life, we free ourselves from the fear of loss. This doesn't diminish our love or passion, it deepens it, as we become present with what is, valuing each moment for itself rather than as a means to an end. Another aspect of freeing ourselves from attachment involves letting go of the belief that external achievements or possessions will bring lasting happiness. While it's natural to have goals, aspirations, and dreams, attachment forms when we begin to believe that these achievements are essential for our fulfillment. We chase success, validation, or material gains, thinking that these will complete us. But this form of attachment is rooted in a sense of lack, a feeling that we are somehow incomplete or unworthy as we are. True freedom is recognizing that we are already whole, that our worth is inherent and not dependent on what we achieve or possess. When we understand this, our pursuits become expressions of joy and creativity rather than attempts to fill an inner void. Freedom from attachment also means releasing the need to control others or circumstances. Often we attach to the idea of things turning out a certain way or to people behaving as we wish. This attachment to outcomes creates suffering, as life rarely conforms to our expectations. When we are bound by attachment, we become reactive, resisting or fighting what we cannot control. True freedom lies in surrendering to the flow of life, allowing things to unfold as they are meant to, without imposing our will or insisting on specific outcomes. This does not mean we stop caring or cease to act. It means we release the need for things to happen on our terms, trusting that life's unfolding has a wisdom beyond what we can always see. In relationships, freedom from attachment is about loving without clinging. Attachment in relationships arises when we depend on others for our sense of identity, happiness, or security. This can lead to possessiveness, fear, and control, as we become invested in the other person fulfilling our needs. True freedom allows us to love from a place of abundance rather than lack. We cherish the people in our lives without feeling the need to possess them or fearing their departure. This kind of love respects the individuality of each person, allowing both to grow and evolve without the constraints of dependency. Loving without attachment means finding joy in the connection itself, not in what we can gain or how it fulfills us. It is a love that liberates rather than confines. The practice of mindfulness is a powerful tool for cultivating freedom from attachment. Mindfulness brings us into the present moment, where attachment has no place. When we are truly present, we are not longing for the future or clinging to the past. We are simply experiencing life as it is. Mindfulness allows us to observe our desires, fears, and patterns of attachment without judgment, creating a space between ourselves and our reactions. This awareness is the beginning of freedom, as we learn to witness our attachments without being ruled by them. In this space of awareness, we can make conscious choices, rather than reacting impulsively based on ingrained habits of attachment. Gratitude is another powerful practice that fosters freedom from attachment. By cultivating gratitude, we shift our focus from what we lack or fear losing to what we have right now. Gratitude is an acknowledgement of life's abundance, a reminder that our well-being is not dependent on any single thing, person, or outcome. When we live in gratitude, we stop seeking fulfillment outside ourselves. We recognize the richness of each moment. This mindset nurtures contentment, a sense of enoughness, where we feel complete, just as we are. Gratitude breaks the grip of attachment by grounding us in the present and reminding us that life is already a gift, without needing to add anything to it. Freedom from attachment is a path to self-liberation. It does not mean we live without desires or connections. It means we are no longer bound by them. We engage fully with life, love deeply, and pursue our dreams. But we do so with an open hand, allowing life to flow through us without clinging or grasping. In this state of freedom, we experience a profound peace, a sense of wholeness that arises from within. We are no longer caught in the endless cycle of seeking and losing, of fear and desire. Instead, we find joy in simply being, trusting that life will provide what is needed, and that our essence, our true self, is beyond the reach of anything transient. To live in this freedom is to experience a love, peace, and fulfillment that is not dependent on circumstances. It is the liberation of the soul, the recognition that we are not defined by what we possess, who we are with, or what we achieve. In this freedom, we are truly ourselves, boundless, complete, and at peace with all that is. This is the essence of a life lived in freedom from attachment, an unshakable joy, an abiding love, and a deep inner peace that transcends the comings and goings of the external world. Manifesting your true desires is an act of aligning your inner world with the power of intention, clarity, and unwavering belief. It is a process of focusing on what is most deeply fulfilling to you, rather than what society, family, or superficial influences might tell you to want. True manifestation requires an inward journey to discover what genuinely lights up your soul, and a commitment to that vision with both mind and heart. It is the art of creating reality from the inside out, using the energy of your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs as the foundation. The first step in manifesting your true desires is self-awareness. Often people are not fully aware of their deepest desires because they are too busy focusing on what they think they should want. Society constantly feeds us ideas about success, relationships, and material goods, and it is easy to confuse these external ideals with our own inner calling. Manifestation begins with quieting external influences and asking ourselves, what truly matters to me? What brings me joy, peace, and fulfillment? In this stillness, we connect with our authentic selves, uncovering the desires that resonate at the core of our being. Self-awareness in manifestation is not just about knowing what you want. It is about discovering why you want it and how it aligns with who you truly are. Clarity is the next vital component in manifesting your true desires. Clear intentions are like seeds that, when planted in the fertile ground of your mind, have the potential to grow into reality. Ambiguity weakens the power of manifestation, as scattered intentions yield scattered results. To manifest successfully, take the time to create a vivid mental picture of what you want, allowing every detail to come alive in your mind. The more precisely you can define your vision, the stronger your ability to attract it. Imagine not only what this desire looks like, but also how it feels. Engage all your senses in this vision, so it becomes an experience in your mind and heart, as if it were already present. This clarity sends a powerful message to the universe and to your subconscious mind, saying, "This is my true desire, and I am ready to receive it." Belief is the fuel that powers manifestation. Without belief, even the most vivid desire remains a distant wish. You must believe in your ability to bring your desires into reality, regardless of current circumstances or past limitations. But this belief is more than mere optimism. It is a deep-seated conviction that what you desire is not only possible but is already on its way to you. Belief does not require you to know how everything will unfold. It only asks you to trust that the how will reveal itself in time. When you cultivate this faith, you align your thoughts and emotions with the frequency of your desire. This alignment allows the process of manifestation to flow naturally, unhindered by doubt or fear. Every time doubt creeps in, consciously replace it with thoughts of confidence and trust, reinforcing the belief that your desire is inevitable. An essential part of manifesting your true desires is embracing the power of gratitude. Gratitude amplifies the energy of abundance within you, shifting your focus from lack to fulfillment. Instead of focusing on what you do not have, gratitude trains you to appreciate what is already present in your life. This state of appreciation raises your vibration, bringing you into alignment with more experiences that reflect abundance and joy. By being grateful for your desires as if they are already fulfilled, you send a powerful signal that you are open and ready to receive. This mindset shifts your energy from a state of wanting and needing to a state of abundance and receptivity. Gratitude, therefore, is not only a tool for happiness, it is a magnetic force in the process of manifestation. Aligned action is another crucial step in manifesting your desires. While it is essential to hold a clear vision and strong belief, manifestation is not a passive process. Taking steps toward your desires, however small, shows your commitment to your vision. Aligned action does not mean forcing things to happen instead. It is about acting in ways that feel inspired and natural, steps that resonate with the direction of your desire. When you are aligned with your true desires, the right actions will often reveal themselves without effort. These steps may involve learning new skills, meeting new people, or making necessary changes to prepare for the arrival of your desires. Each action you take strengthens your intention, reinforcing to yourself and the universe that you are ready and willing to receive what you desire. Letting go of attachment to the outcome is also vital in manifestation. Attachment often stems from a place of fear or lack, creating resistance that blocks the flow of your desires. When you cling to an outcome, you are essentially telling the universe that you do not trust the process, which contradicts the essence of true manifestation. Letting go does not mean giving up on your desire, it means releasing the need for it to happen in a specific way or by a certain time. Trust that what is meant for you will come in the perfect way and time, and surrender the how to the intelligence of the universe. This surrender creates a sense of peace and allows you to stay open to unexpected opportunities and experiences that may be even better than what you originally envisioned. In manifesting your true desires, you embark on a profound journey of self-discovery and inner alignment. This process isn't just about gaining things, it's about uncovering the power within you to shape your reality with purpose, gratitude, and unwavering faith. By understanding your deepest desires, cultivating clarity, belief, and taking inspired action, you align with the energy that draws your vision into existence. Letting go of attachment and embodying the feelings of already having what you seek elevates your energy, allowing you to co-create with life in harmony and abundance. As you move forward, remember that manifestation is not a destination but an ongoing partnership between your inner world and the universe. Stay open, stay grateful, and trust the journey. Thank you for taking the time to explore this path, and may your journey of manifestation lead to a life filled with true fulfillment and joy. Today I invite you to consider the idea of dropping the mantle of the nice guy, not in the sense of kindness or compassion, those remain invaluable, but the nice guy. As society has defined him as one who sacrifices his own values, silences his own desires, and abandons his authenticity to accommodate others. This habit of forsaking self to fit into a mold set by those around you has kept you from your truest life. When you are authentic, you are connected to a profound inner compass, a guiding force that cannot be altered by the fleeting opinions or expectations of others. To act from this place is to move with an unwavering sense of purpose, which is often lost when we are overly concerned with appearing nice, likable, or even harmless. Such preoccupations weaken your capacity to follow your own path and to make decisions that resonate with your true self. Authenticity requires that you peel back the layers of conditioning and socialization that have taught you to act small, to temper your voice, and to dilute your truth. It asks that you become unapologetically yourself, knowing that your worth is inherent and that external validation cannot define it. Living authentically requires a deep trust in yourself. It calls upon you to reject the need for approval that has been conditioned into you, which suggests that your worthiness is contingent upon the opinions of others. When you feel the need to alter or hide aspects of yourself for approval, you betray your inner power. This sacrifice chips away at your self-respect and fosters insecurity, as you constantly seek assurance outside of yourself. By standing in your truth, regardless of others' judgments or perceptions, you assert your worth simply by virtue of your existence. You declare to yourself and to the world that you are enough as you are. When you live authentically, you are also in harmony with your desires and aspirations. Often we hesitate to express our dreams or voice our ambitions out of fear that others may judge them or see them as too grand, too bold, or even unrealistic. But authenticity demands that you honor these desires. They are the whispers of the deeper self, guiding you toward what will ultimately fulfill and complete you. By acknowledging your desires without compromise, you step into a life that is aligned with your spirit and soul. You cease to be at the mercy of others' expectations and instead root yourself in the quiet assurance that what you want is valid, meaningful, and worthy of pursuit. To live authentically is also to embrace vulnerability. Many fear that by revealing their true selves, they expose themselves to potential hurt, rejection, or judgment. This fear is valid, but living inauthentically is equally painful. The inauthentic life is one of repression, constant adaptation, and shallow connections, because you are never allowing anyone to know or see the real you. When you live authentically, you do so with the understanding that vulnerability is not a weakness, it is a strength. The courage to be vulnerable enables you to form deeper connections, where you are not simply playing a role or trying to meet someone else's standards. Authentic relationships, built on the bedrock of honesty and openness, are among the most profound gifts life has to offer. The power of authenticity is not forceful, it does not strive or seek to dominate. It simply is. It is the quiet, enduring strength of knowing who you are, trusting yourself, and valuing your own perspective above fleeting opinions. This inner strength allows you to stand firm in times of adversity, to face challenges without compromising your integrity, and to move forward with confidence. When you live from a place of authenticity, you do not waste energy on pretense or the fear of being found out, because you are not projecting a facade. The energy that others expend on maintaining false identities, you channel toward your passions, your goals, and your growth. Your authenticity becomes a source of resilience, a place from which you draw courage when the path becomes difficult or uncertain. You find liberation. The approval of others, which once held such importance, loses its grip, and you begin to realize that the only validation you need is your own. You become less concerned with fitting in and more devoted to growing, expanding, and embracing your unique place in the world. This freedom from external influence allows you to shape a life that resonates with your true values and principles. You no longer live according to a script handed to you by society. Instead, you become the author of your own story, one that aligns with your inner truth. True power is a state of being that is rooted in authenticity. It is the ability to stand firm, to say yes when it aligns with your values, and no when it does not, without feeling the need to justify yourself. This power is calm and unshakable. It does not waver with the opinions of others or with changing circumstances. It is the power of someone who knows their worth, who has embraced their uniqueness, and who moves through life with the quiet assurance that they are complete as they are. As you deepen your commitment to authenticity, you may find that certain relationships, habits, and environments no longer serve you. This is natural, as authenticity is a refining process, shedding what no longer aligns with your inner truth. In this shedding, you make room for what is true, meaningful, and enduring. The world respects those who respect themselves, and as you embody authenticity, you will begin to attract people and experiences that resonate with your true self. Authenticity, then, is not only your power, it is your compass, your strength, and the path to a life lived fully, freely, and without compromise. The need for validation is a powerful force, one that often drives people to act in ways that are contrary to their true selves. In a world where approval is sought from every corner through social media likes, praise from colleagues, or acknowledgement from loved ones, it's easy to lose oneself in the pursuit of external recognition. Yet, true peace and self-worth can only be found when you give up seeking validation from others and instead turn inward to recognize your own inherent worth. The desire for validation is, at its core, a desire to feel valued, to know that one's existence, thoughts, and actions matter. But when this need for recognition becomes the lens through which you view your own worth, it clouds your authenticity and binds you to a life that is constantly shaped by others' opinions. When you seek validation, you hand over your power. You place your sense of worth in the hands of others, who may or may not have your best interests at heart. This dependency becomes a form of bondage, as you end up molding yourself to fit someone else's ideal, changing your opinions, or hiding your true feelings just to maintain the approval of others. This way of living is exhausting, as it requires you to constantly anticipate the preferences and expectations of those around you. The opinions of others become your yardstick for self-worth, and in doing so, you diminish your own ability to self-validate. Giving up the need for validation requires a shift in focus from an outward reliance on others to an inward connection with yourself. Instead of basing your worth on external factors, you start to cultivate self-awareness and self-acceptance. You begin to see that your worth does not fluctuate based on what others think of you, and you realize that you alone hold the power to determine how valuable you are. This realization is liberating, as it frees you from the burden of needing to conform or seek approval. When you give yourself permission to approve of who you are, you move through life with a quiet confidence that cannot be easily shaken. One of the reasons people struggle to give up validation is because it has become a habit. From a young age, society conditions us to seek praise for doing well, to look for recognition as a sign of success, and to measure ourselves against others to determine our standing. This creates an internal belief that unless others validate us, our actions, opinions, or achievements are not truly worthwhile. But by recognizing this conditioning, you gain the awareness needed to break free from it. You begin to see that the need for validation is not innate but learned, and because it is learned, it can also be unlearned. To give up seeking validation, you must cultivate a deep sense of self-acceptance. Self-acceptance is the understanding that you are whole as you are, with all your strengths and flaws, and that you do not need to prove your worth to anyone. This does not mean you become indifferent or self-centered. Rather, it means that you prioritize your own well-being and integrity over external approval. When you genuinely accept yourself, the opinions of others lose their grip on you. You may still value feedback, but it no longer has the power to define your sense of worth or steer you off course. Self-acceptance fosters an unshakable foundation upon which you can build a life that is true to your values and aspirations, rather than a life built on the expectations of others. By letting go of validation, you also unlock the freedom to be authentic. When you are not seeking approval, you are free to express your thoughts, follow your passions, and make decisions that align with your true self. Authenticity is a natural outcome of self-validation, as you no longer feel the need to censor yourself or hide aspects of who you are. You stop living for the approval of an audience and start living for the fulfillment of your own purpose. This authenticity attracts people who genuinely resonate with you, leading to more meaningful and fulfilling relationships. When you are true to yourself, you invite others to connect with you on a level that transcends superficial approval. Living without the need for validation also brings resilience. When you are not dependent on others' opinions to feel worthy, you become less vulnerable to criticism and rejection. You are able to maintain your sense of self-worth even in the face of negative feedback, as you know that your value does not hinge on anyone else's perception. This resilience is crucial for personal growth, as it enables you to take risks, pursue dreams, and learn from setbacks without fear of losing your sense of self. You develop an inner fortitude that allows you to navigate life's challenges with grace and confidence. Perhaps one of the most profound benefits of giving up validation is the deep inner peace it brings. When you are no longer caught in the constant need to measure up, you experience a sense of freedom and contentment. You are no longer swayed by every opinion or judgment, and you are not distracted by the quest for approval. Instead, you can be fully present, grounded in the knowledge that you are enough as you are. This peace is a gift that no amount of external praise can provide, as it is rooted in your own self-worth and authenticity. In a world that often pressures you to be everything to everyone, Giving up the need for validation is a radical act of self-liberation. It allows you to reclaim your power, to live according to your own values, and to connect with yourself on a level that goes beyond superficial approval. By letting go of validation, you align with your inner truth and create a life that is rich in meaning, resilience, and peace. You learn to trust yourself and to value your own opinion above all else, knowing that you are the only one who can truly define your worth. In doing so, you step into a life of freedom, where you are no longer bound by the judgments of others, but are empowered by the quiet assurance of your own self-acceptance. Our desires are like inner compasses, pointing us toward what we truly need to live a fulfilling and authentic life. However, many people are reluctant to fully embrace or express their desires. They might suppress them out of fear, believing that others will judge them, or that pursuing their dreams will lead to failure or disappointment. Yet, when we ignore our desires, we ignore vital parts of ourselves. These are the parts that yearn for expression, creativity, and expansion, guiding us to discover who we truly are. To be true to your desires is to give voice to the silent call within you that knows exactly what you need to feel fulfilled, alive, and complete. Being true to your desires is a radical act of self-acceptance. It is acknowledging that what you want is valid and deserves your attention. Often we are conditioned to dismiss our desires as selfish or impractical, and we learn to replace them with the goals that society, family, or peers deem appropriate. This tendency disconnects us from our authentic selves, leading us to make choices that lack personal resonance. But to live a life that truly reflects who you are, you must give yourself permission to want what you want, unapologetically. This requires you to release the beliefs and expectations that have been imposed upon you and instead follow what genuinely brings you joy and fulfillment. Your desires are unique to you, and they carry wisdom about what will bring you the greatest satisfaction and growth. By honoring them, you honor yourself. To align with your desires means to develop a relationship with them, to understand them deeply, and to let them inform your actions and choices. This involves introspection, taking time to explore what you truly want beneath surface desires and fleeting cravings. Real desires, the ones that speak to your soul, are often rooted in long-held dreams, values, or passions that remain consistent through life's changing circumstances. They are the things you feel drawn to even in quiet moments, the goals or visions that seem to tug at you no matter how much time has passed. When you connect with these desires, you access a wellspring of motivation, energy, and purpose, because these desires are aligned with your core self. Expressing your true desires can be intimidating. It requires vulnerability to admit what you want and courage to pursue it, especially if it does not align with others' expectations. But living authentically means embracing the discomfort that sometimes comes with standing apart from the crowd. By staying true to your desires, you are showing up as your full self, unafraid to prioritize what truly matters to you. This can be challenging, particularly when others don't understand or support your choices. However, the approval of others pales in comparison to the fulfillment that comes from honoring your own truth. The sense of satisfaction you will feel is worth more than any external validation. Following your desires often involves taking risks, as the path toward fulfillment is rarely straightforward. There will likely be obstacles, setbacks, and challenges along the way. But these are not signs to abandon your dreams. Rather, they are part of the journey that strengthens your commitment. Desires are not meant to be easily attained. They are meant to push you, to force you to grow, and to call upon strengths you might not yet realize you possess. As you move toward your desires, you learn to be resourceful, resilient, and adaptable. Each step you take, no matter how difficult, brings you closer to the life you envision, building confidence and fortitude along the way. In being true to your desires, you also cultivate a profound sense of personal integrity. Integrity is about alignment, aligning your actions, thoughts, and words with your deepest truths. When you are consistently pursuing desires that resonate with who you truly are, you build a strong foundation of self-respect. You demonstrate to yourself that your needs, goals, and dreams are worthy of pursuit. Over time, this self-respect translates into a deep-seated belief in your own value and purpose. Living in alignment with your desires also enables you to form genuine connections with others, as people are naturally drawn to individuals who are authentic, self-assured, and passionate. Being true to your desires fosters creativity and fulfillment. Your desires often hint at the gifts and talents within you that are waiting to be expressed. They are unique to you, and the world benefits when you bring them into existence. When you embrace and pursue what you genuinely desire, you contribute something distinct to the world, something that only you can create or offer. This creative expression brings not only personal satisfaction but also a sense of purpose, as you realize that your desires serve a greater role in shaping the world around you. So, to be true to your desires also means to be patient with yourself. Desires, particularly those that are deeply rooted, often take time to fully manifest. The journey toward fulfilling them may not always unfold as you expect, but patience and persistence are essential. By being consistent and committed, you build a life that reflects your truest self, even if it takes time. This patience teaches you to trust in the process and in your own ability to bring your dreams to fruition. Your desires are there for a reason. They are part of who you are, woven into the fabric of your identity and purpose. When you ignore or suppress them, you deny yourself the fullness of your own potential. You settle for a life that might look complete on the surface, but lacks the depth and richness of true fulfillment. But by embracing your desires, you step into a life that feels meaningful and aligned with your soul. You create a path that is uniquely yours, one that reflects your passions, values, and dreams. Be true to your desires. Give yourself permission to want what you want, without apology or justification. Embrace the path, even if it is unfamiliar or challenging, and let your desires guide you toward the life you are meant to live. In honoring your desires, you honor the essence of who you are, creating a life that is as expansive, joyful, and fulfilling as the dreams that lie within you. Setting and asserting boundaries is one of the most powerful acts of self-respect. Boundaries are the invisible lines that protect your energy, time, and emotional well-being. They define what you will and will not accept in relationships, work environments, and social interactions. However, the way in which you assert these boundaries can make all the difference. While boundaries need to be firm, they do not need to be aggressive or harsh. Asserting boundaries with grace allows you to communicate your needs respectfully, to stand up for yourself confidently, and to build healthier, more respectful relationships. Graceful boundary setting starts with a deep understanding of your own needs and values. Often we allow our boundaries to be crossed simply because we have not taken the time to consider what we truly need in a situation or relationship. Self-reflection allows you to pinpoint where your boundaries lie and helps you clarify why they are important to you. For example, if you find that you often feel drained after certain social interactions, this might be a sign that you need to establish limits on your availability. Recognizing this need gives you the foundation to assert your boundary with calm conviction, rather than reacting in frustration or resentment. Once you have clarity on your boundaries, the next step is to communicate them effectively. Many people fear boundary setting because they worry it will come across as confrontational or selfish. However, setting boundaries is neither unkind nor selfish. It is an essential part of maintaining your well-being and honoring your commitments to yourself. Communicating boundaries with grace requires a balance of honesty and empathy. Rather than expressing your boundary as a rejection of the other person, you can frame it as an affirmation of your own needs. For instance, instead of saying, "I don't want to do this for you anymore," you could say, "I've realized I need to reserve more time for my own projects, so I won't be able to take this on." This approach communicates your boundary while minimizing potential defensiveness or hurt feelings. A common misconception about boundaries is that they are rigid walls that isolate you from others. In reality, healthy boundaries are flexible and can adapt as situations and relationships evolve. Setting boundaries with grace means being willing to assess and, when necessary, adjust them as life circumstances change. For example, a boundary that felt appropriate in the early stages of a relationship might need to be reevaluated as trust and closeness develop. Likewise, if a boundary consistently feels like a source of unnecessary stress, it may be worth considering whether it still serves you. The ability to reassess boundaries demonstrates maturity and adaptability, allowing you to maintain them in a way that genuinely supports your well-being. Graceful boundary setting also involves being prepared for various responses, as not everyone will understand or accept your boundaries immediately. Some may react with frustration, disappointment, or even guilt-tripping, particularly if they have been accustomed to certain behavior patterns. However, remaining composed and gentle in the face of these reactions can help diffuse tension and encourage understanding. Responding with empathy, rather than defensiveness, can be effective here. For example, saying, "I understand that this change might be unexpected, but I appreciate your patience," acknowledges the other person's feelings without compromising your boundary. This approach not only maintains your boundary, but also fosters an atmosphere of respect and understanding. When setting boundaries, it is essential to let go of the need for others' approval. Often, people avoid asserting boundaries because they fear being perceived as unkind or unhelpful. However, prioritizing your well-being is a necessity, not an act of selfishness. Recognizing this frees you from the pressure of needing others to agree with or validate your boundaries. Setting boundaries with grace means embracing the reality that not everyone will fully understand or appreciate them. Your responsibility is not to make everyone happy, it is to honor yourself. Others may or may not accept your choices, but when you are clear in your own mind, their reactions do not undermine your resolve. Perhaps one of the most important aspects of setting boundaries with grace is the impact it has on your relationships. People who respect you will ultimately respect your boundaries, even if it takes time for them to adjust. By clearly defining your limits, you actually allow space for relationships to grow stronger and healthier. Boundaries act as a foundation for mutual respect, as they prevent misunderstandings and resentment from building up. When you model respectful boundary setting, you also encourage others to do the same, fostering an environment where everyone feels safe to express their needs honestly and openly. As you set and reinforce your boundaries, be kind to yourself. Setting boundaries can be uncomfortable at first, especially if it's something you're not used to doing. You may feel guilt, self-doubt, or worry about the reactions of others, but remember that every act of boundary setting is an act of self-care. Allow yourself to feel empowered by this process and celebrate the courage it takes to honor your own needs. Over time, boundary setting will become second nature, bringing a sense of peace and balance to your life. By respecting yourself and your limits, you will find that others, too, begin to respect you on a deeper level. Setting boundaries with grace is not just about protecting yourself, it's about cultivating relationships and a life that reflect respect, understanding, and authenticity. It is an act of self-love and a commitment to a life that honors your needs, values, and energy. Embracing this process transforms the way you interact with the world, allowing you to show up more fully, with kindness and confidence, in every aspect of your life. The habit of self-sacrifice often stems from a deep-rooted belief that giving more of yourself, your time, energy, and resources is a way to show love, loyalty, or commitment. It is a powerful impulse, one that seems noble and generous on the surface, but often comes with a heavy cost. This pattern can slowly drain you of your vitality and authenticity, leaving you feeling depleted and disconnected from your own desires. Releasing the habit of self-sacrifice is not about abandoning kindness or compassion, it is about redefining these virtues so they honor both others and yourself. By breaking free from this habit, you begin to embrace a life where your needs and well-being are not only valid but essential. The first step in releasing the habit of self-sacrifice is to recognize its presence in your life. Many people sacrifice themselves in small, seemingly insignificant ways every day without even realizing it. You might constantly say yes to extra work, neglect your own rest to help others, or suppress your emotions to keep peace in relationships. This tendency to put others' needs before your own can be difficult to spot because it often feels so natural, even virtuous. However, when self-sacrifice becomes habitual, it leads to a loss of personal balance and ultimately erodes your sense of self. Acknowledging where and how you give too much of yourself is an act of self-awareness and the foundation for building a healthier way of relating to others. One reason people fall into the trap of self-sacrifice is due to a subconscious belief that their worth is tied to their ability to give. If you have been raised to believe that selflessness is the highest virtue, you might equate taking care of yourself with being selfish. But true self-worth is not conditional on how much you can give or how well you can please others. Instead, it is about recognizing your inherent value, independent of what you do for others. Breaking the habit of self-sacrifice requires a shift in this mindset, where you begin to see that your well-being matters, not because of what you provide, but because you are worthy of care and respect simply as you are. When you start valuing yourself in this way, self-sacrifice no longer feels necessary for validation or acceptance. As you release the habit of self-sacrifice, it becomes essential to establish healthy boundaries. Boundaries are the limits you set to protect your energy, time, and emotional health. They allow you to engage with others in a way that is respectful to both parties, without overextending yourself. Setting boundaries can feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you are accustomed to saying yes to everyone and everything. However, boundaries are not barriers, they are expressions of respect, both for yourself and for those around you. By setting limits, you honor your own needs and create relationships that are based on genuine connection rather than obligation or resentment. When you stop sacrificing yourself unnecessarily, you also make room for authenticity in your relationships. Often, self-sacrifice can lead to hidden resentment or unspoken expectations that others cannot fulfill. This resentment accumulates over time, weakening the bond between you and those you care about. By being honest about your needs and letting go of the expectation to constantly sacrifice for others, you create an environment where everyone is free to express themselves openly and without hidden agendas. True connection and love thrive in authenticity, not in self-denial or suppression. The aspect of releasing self-sacrifice is learning to practice self-care without guilt. Taking care of yourself is not a luxury, it is a necessity. When you prioritize your physical, mental, and emotional health, you have more to offer others from a place of abundance rather than depletion. Self-care can take many forms, whether it's resting when you're tired, setting aside time for activities you enjoy, or simply saying no when you're stretched too thin. Each act of self-care reinforces the belief that you deserve kindness and care as much as anyone else. Letting go of guilt around self-care allows you to be more present, more joyful, and more resilient, ultimately making you a better support to others. As you move away from the habit of self-sacrifice, you may encounter resistance from others who have grown accustomed to your giving nature. People might not understand or accept your decision to set boundaries and prioritize your needs at first, and this can be challenging. However, it is important to remember that changing this dynamic is essential for your well-being. By honoring yourself, you teach others how to treat you. In time, those who respect you will come to respect your boundaries, and you will cultivate relationships that are balanced and mutually fulfilling. Letting go of self-sacrifice also allows you to rediscover and reconnect with your passions, interests, and goals. When you habitually put others first, your own dreams and desires often fall by the wayside. Releasing this habit gives you the freedom to explore what truly matters to you, to set goals that align with your values, and to pursue the things that bring you joy. By reclaiming your time and energy, you open up space for growth and fulfillment in ways that enrich not only your own life but also inspire those around you. Living without self-sacrifice is about finding harmony between giving and receiving. It is possible to be compassionate and generous without compromising your well-being. Releasing self-sacrifice does not mean abandoning your loved ones or shirking responsibilities. It simply means giving from a place of wholeness rather than emptiness. When you are balanced and cared for, your kindness flows naturally and authentically, without resentment or exhaustion. This balanced approach allows you to show up fully in your relationships and endeavors, bringing the best of yourself to every interaction. Letting go of self-sacrifice is a journey towards self-respect and self-compassion. It is about acknowledging that your needs are as important as anyone else's, and that caring for yourself is a crucial part of living a meaningful, joyful life. By releasing this habit, you break free from patterns that drain you and embrace a path of fulfillment, vitality, and authentic connection. In valuing yourself, you cultivate a life where kindness is rooted in strength, compassion in clarity, and love in balance. Embracing your innate worth is a journey of recognizing and honoring the deep, inherent value that exists within you. It is a journey away from conditional self-worth, one that depends on external validations or achievements, and toward a grounded, internal understanding that you are valuable simply because you are. Society often teaches us that worthiness is something to be earned through success, through how much we give to others, through how much we accomplish. But this is a misconception that can lead to feelings of inadequacy, fear of failure, and a never-ending chase for external approval. True self-worth isn't dependent on external measures. It is something you carry within you, and that you allow to flourish by reconnecting with your authentic self. The first step to embracing your innate worth is to release the habit of comparing yourself to others. From an early age, many of us learn to see ourselves in relation to others. We may compare our looks, achievements, status, or possessions with others, and in doing so, we begin to derive our sense of worth from these comparisons. But comparison is a thief of joy and an obstacle to seeing your unique value. It's essential to remember that your worth is not diminished by another's accomplishments or elevated by another's setbacks. Every person's path is different, and your value is rooted in your distinct experiences, qualities, and contributions. By focusing on your journey, you free yourself from the cycle of comparison and allow space for your unique worth to shine through. The essential step in embracing your worth is to separate it from your achievements. It is easy to equate your value with what you accomplish or what you do for others. This mindset, however, ties your worth to external outcomes that can change over time. While accomplishments can bring fulfillment and satisfaction, they should not define your worth. Just as a diamond is valuable regardless of whether it is admired or hidden away, your value remains constant whether or not it is seen by others. Your worth exists independently of what you achieve. And learning to recognize this can bring a profound sense of inner peace and freedom. Embracing your worth is about seeing yourself as valuable, even when you are not actively doing, giving, or accomplishing. Self-acceptance is a powerful foundation for embracing your worth. Embracing your innate worth means loving yourself not in spite of your imperfections, but because of the wholeness of who you are. We are each made up of strengths, weaknesses, dreams, fears, successes, and mistakes, and all of these aspects contribute to the richness of our unique identity. When you practice self-acceptance, you are acknowledging and embracing your whole self rather than striving to meet an idealized version. Accepting yourself doesn't mean settling. It means recognizing that your worth is not contingent upon constant improvement or flawlessness. Self-acceptance lets you see your inherent worth through both the light and shadow parts of yourself. Another key element in embracing your worth is the willingness to receive love and kindness from others. When you do not see yourself as inherently worthy, it can feel uncomfortable to receive compliments, support, or love from those around you. You may feel like you don't deserve it or worry that it comes with strings attached. However, being open to receiving is part of honoring your worth. It acknowledges that you are deserving of kindness just as others are. Allowing yourself to receive love and support reinforces the idea that you are valuable just as you are. It also encourages you to let go of any belief that you must constantly give in order to be loved, paving the way for relationships rooted in mutual respect and appreciation. Forgiving yourself is another step toward embracing your worth. Often, past mistakes, regrets, or choices can weigh heavily on your sense of self-worth, making it difficult to see yourself as deserving or good enough. However, holding on to these things doesn't serve you. It only keeps you stuck in a cycle of self-doubt and self-criticism. True self-worth involves compassion, including the compassion to forgive yourself and recognize that mistakes are part of the human experience. By letting go of past regrets, you allow your inherent worth to shine through, unburdened by shame or guilt. Self-forgiveness doesn't mean disregarding accountability. It means understanding that you are worthy of love and kindness, even with your imperfections. One of the most powerful ways to embrace your worth is to honor your needs and desires. When you ignore your own needs or dismiss your desires as unimportant, you send yourself a message that you are less deserving of care and happiness. Conversely, when you prioritize your well-being, you affirm your inherent value. Listening to what you need, whether it's rest, joy, connection, or growth, and giving yourself permission to seek it is a vital part of recognizing your worth. Embracing your worth means giving yourself the same love, kindness, and respect that you might readily offer to others. Your innate worth is about coming home to yourself and acknowledging that your value is not something you need to prove, earn, or negotiate. It's a quiet, enduring truth that lies within you, waiting to be acknowledged. When you let go of the need for external validation, the habit of comparison, and the drive to earn your worth, you create space to connect with your true self. This journey to self-worth is not always easy, especially in a world that often measures value by external success or status, but it is profoundly liberating. Your worth, you allow yourself to live with more authenticity, to create from a place of wholeness, and to engage with others from a foundation of confidence and respect. You stop seeking validation outside of yourself and start living from a place of inner assurance. The more you practice seeing and valuing yourself as you are, the more you step into the fullness of your being. Embracing your worth is a gift to yourself and to those around you, as it allows you to share the real you whole, worthy, and enough. In embracing your innate worth, you unlock a path to live with authenticity, peace, and deep-rooted confidence. This journey teaches you that your value is not conditional upon achievements, comparisons, or validation from others. Instead, your worth is a constant, rooted in who you truly are, independent of external circumstances. As you practice self-acceptance, self-compassion, and self-care, you come to see yourself as deserving of kindness, respect, and love. This understanding empowers you to let go of self-doubt and live in a way that honors your truest self. Thank you for taking this journey inward, and may you continue to embrace the unique and invaluable worth within you. There exists within you a mighty source, a wellspring that crafts worlds and forges paths where none appear. It is a misconception that we must wait for life to hand us a chance, a sign, a fleeting moment to grasp onto. Instead, I tell you, life is waiting for you to declare what shall be so. The power to shape reality is rooted in imagination, a force that transcends the physical world and reaches into realms beyond sight. Through imagination, one discovers the ability to see past the constraints of the present moment, to envision what could be rather than what appears to be. This gift, which lies dormant in so many, is the true essence of creative power. It is through the vivid, deliberate use of imagination that the unseen becomes seen, and the impossible transforms into the possible. For a moment, the world as a reflection of your inner state. Every situation you encounter, every experience that unfolds, is the projection of your deeply held beliefs and visions. The power of imagination lies in its ability to mold this projection, allowing you to experience the reality you have chosen, rather than one dictated by chance or circumstance. This creative faculty within is not bound by logic or limited by the visible world. It exists in a realm where anything can be, and it only awaits your command to take shape. When you engage your imagination with purpose, a remarkable shift begins. Your mind no longer wanders aimlessly, drifting from one thought to the next. Instead, it becomes a disciplined tool, bending toward a specific outcome that you have consciously selected. The clearer and more emotionally charged your vision, the more powerfully it influences the material world. Imagine not just a fleeting idea, but a deeply felt reality, so vivid that you can sense its presence, hear its sounds, feel its textures. This feeling is the language of creation. It is what brings life to your vision and draws it out of the unseen into the tangible. Imagination also defies the barriers of time. When you envision something as already accomplished, you are no longer waiting for a future event to fulfill you. Instead, you inhabit the experience right now, as though it were already yours. By doing so, you eliminate the gap between desire and fulfillment, bringing the future into the present moment. This shift is powerful. When you act and think from a state of fulfillment, the world mirrors it back to you. Circumstances rearrange, and people and events align in ways that match the state of mind you have chosen to embody. What many overlook is that imagination is a form of prayer. It is an act of communion with a higher part of yourself, where you communicate what you seek and affirm that it already exists within you. In these moments of imaginative reverie, you plant the seeds of future experiences, allowing the invisible forces of the universe to bring them into form. This process is not random, it is governed by the steadfastness of your vision and the depth of your belief. When you believe in the reality of your imagined state, no matter how distant it may seem, it will begin to appear in your life. The world you experience is, at its core, the product of what you have dared to imagine. Whether you choose to see beauty, success, love, or abundance, the substance of your vision flows forth and fills your surroundings. To wield the power of imagination is to hold the key to creation itself, turning the intangible into the real, and the invisible into form. Living in the end is the practice of embracing the feeling of your fulfilled desire as if it has already come to pass. This mindset does not involve waiting or wishing. Instead, it calls you to embody a state where the goal you seek is already accomplished. It is a profound shift from hoping to knowing, from desiring to experiencing. By assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you align your inner world with your intended outcome, and in doing so, you draw it into reality. To live in the end requires that you release the attachment to how or when your desire will materialize. You surrender the need to control the details, instead embracing the feeling that the outcome is already yours. This feeling state is essential. It's not a vague hope, but a complete immersion in the sensation of having arrived. Imagine it as an actor stepping fully into a role, embodying every aspect of their character until it becomes second nature. You, too, are stepping into the role of a person whose wish has been realized. One of the most powerful aspects of living in the end is the confidence it instills. By assuming the feeling of your fulfilled desire, you cultivate an inner certainty that replaces doubt and anxiety with a calm assurance. This inner calm radiates outwards, affecting how you carry yourself, the way you interact with others, and even the choices you make. Living in the end eliminates the energy of lack and limitation. Rather than focusing on what is absent, you focus on the feeling of wholeness, of satisfaction, which creates a powerful frequency that attracts that very state into being. When you act, think, and feel from a place where your desire is already achieved, your mind begins to align with the path that leads you there. This practice is not just about positive thinking. It is an intentional state of being that requires commitment and faith. Living in the end transforms obstacles into stepping stones and challenges into opportunities for growth. By embodying your goal, you naturally find yourself taking actions and making decisions that are consistent with your vision, often without conscious effort. This process of living in the end calls for unwavering focus. When distractions or doubts arise, gently return to the feeling of fulfillment. Your mind may try to rationalize, reminding you of the current reality, but your task is to hold firm to the inner experience. Trust that this inner experience is more real than the transient, shifting outer world. The world you see is, in many ways, an echo of the state you occupy internally. As you consistently return to this feeling of fulfillment, the external world will eventually mirror back what you have chosen to believe. By living in the end, you are telling the universe, "This is already mine," and the universe responds in kind. Circumstances rearrange, opportunities unfold, and paths open where none existed before. Through this inner conviction, you bridge the gap between what you desire and what you experience, making the journey one of joyous expectancy rather than anxious anticipation. In living as though you have already arrived, you invite your vision into form and allow your life to be transformed by the simple, powerful truth of already being whole, complete, and fulfilled. In the unseen is a commitment to the truth that reality extends beyond what can be perceived by the senses. This kind of faith is not merely an abstract belief, but a deeply felt conviction that the invisible realm is as real, if not more real, than the physical world we encounter daily. It is the understanding that everything visible originates from the invisible, and that our unseen beliefs, thoughts, and inner states shape the world we experience. Faith in the unseen calls upon us to trust in outcomes that are not yet evident, to believe in what the senses cannot confirm. It requires looking beyond the apparent limitations of the current moment, and instead turning inward to the quiet certainty within. This certainty is not grounded in logic or external evidence. It arises from a profound inner knowing, a confidence that what is deeply felt will eventually be seen. By cultivating this faith, we allow ourselves to move forward without requiring proof of our success or guarantees from the external world. Instead, we lean into a trusting state, letting our invisible convictions guide our actions and decisions. This kind of faith is the driving force behind all true creation. It is the foundation of every great accomplishment, for no one has ever achieved a significant goal by relying solely on what they could see or measure. Faith in the unseen is what enables inventors, artists, leaders, and visionaries to bring forth ideas that initially seemed impossible. They do not wait for tangible evidence to appear. Instead, they act from a sense of certainty that what they envision is real, even if others cannot yet see it. Developing faith in the unseen involves deliberately turning away from doubt and fear. The physical world often reflects back conditions that contradict our desires, creating an illusion of limitation. But faith transcends these illusions, recognizing them as temporary manifestations that can be reshaped by our inner beliefs. Rather than reacting to the current conditions, faith asks us to hold fast to the desired outcome, knowing that the unseen forces at work are more powerful than any temporary setback. This faith is an anchor, grounding us in the conviction that what we cannot yet see is already forming. Having faith in the unseen requires consistent focus and discipline. It means regularly immersing oneself in the feeling of the fulfilled desire, regardless of what the senses report. When doubts arise, we gently return to that inner knowing, affirming that our desired outcome is as real as any physical fact. This is not a one-time effort, it is a daily practice, a continual commitment to seeing beyond appearances and believing in the invisible potential. Faith in the unseen is also a declaration of personal power. By trusting in the invisible, we claim our role as co-creators of our experience, accepting that we have the ability to shape our reality. This is not faith in something outside of ourselves, but rather a faith in the creative force within us, the very essence that connects us to all possibilities. By aligning with this unseen force, we allow it to guide and direct our lives, knowing that it will bring us to the realization of our vision. Living with faith in the unseen brings a sense of peace and purpose. We are no longer driven by fear of the unknown, but rather inspired by it, excited by the potential of what lies beyond. Each day becomes an opportunity to strengthen this faith, to embrace the unseen as the source of all creation, and to witness as what once seemed intangible and distant becomes a lived reality. Faith in the unseen is the bridge from desire to fulfillment, allowing us to walk confidently in the assurance that what we seek is already on its way to us. Aligning thought with action is the process of bringing your inner vision and external behaviors into harmony, a union that channels your energy toward manifesting your deepest desires. While thought is the starting point of creation, it is action that grounds these thoughts into tangible reality. When both thought and action are in alignment, you become a powerful force, moving with clarity and intention toward your goals. It begins with a clear, focused vision, a mental picture of what you wish to bring into being. This vision is the guiding force that directs both thought and action, acting as a compass for every decision you make. Without this clarity, actions may lack purpose and direction, leading to scattered efforts that produce little progress. However, when you hold a vision firmly in your mind and align your thoughts to it, your actions naturally follow, supporting the intention you have set. You are no longer merely reacting to circumstances, but consciously creating them. Alignment between thought and action requires that you move beyond daydreaming or idle wishful thinking. It calls for conviction, the kind of belief that is so strong it prompts you to act as though your goal is already within reach. When your mind is filled with the idea of success, prosperity, or well-being, your actions will naturally begin to reflect this inner state. If you think in terms of abundance, you will make choices from a place of abundance, rather than fear or limitation. This alignment transforms your actions from random efforts into purposeful steps that bring you closer to your desired outcome. When thought and action are in sync, obstacles lose their power. Challenges may still arise, but rather than seeing them as insurmountable barriers, you view them as stepping stones or opportunities for growth. In this aligned state, your actions are driven by a sense of purpose rather than by doubt or fear. Each action becomes an expression of your vision, infused with the energy of the reality you are creating. This consistency strengthens your belief, reinforcing the inner state of fulfillment and drawing the outcome closer. Aligning thought with action creates a sense of ease and flow in life. When your thoughts and actions are out of alignment, life often feels like a struggle, as though you are pushing against the current. You may want one thing, but act in ways that contradict it, leading to frustration and stagnation. However, when alignment is achieved, the tension disappears, and life begins to flow more effortlessly. Opportunities present themselves, resources appear, and you find yourself in the right place at the right time. This alignment also nurtures a deep sense of integrity. When you act in harmony with your highest vision, you are being true to yourself. There is no internal conflict or compromise. You embody the qualities you wish to experience, whether it is confidence, love, or success, and each action you take reflects that inner state. This consistency between thought and action inspires trust, both within yourself and in others, creating a foundation of authenticity that strengthens your resolve. Aligning thought with action is a practice, one that requires mindfulness and commitment. It involves continually returning to your vision, reaffirming your belief in it, and taking deliberate steps that reflect that belief. Whenever doubts arise, you can gently remind yourself of the bigger picture, returning to the feeling of already having achieved your goal. Each small action then becomes a building block, supporting the reality you have chosen to create. Aligning thought with action is the embodiment of faith in motion. It is the process of living as if your vision is already realized, letting each thought and action reinforce that reality. This practice does not simply bring you closer to your goal, it transforms you, making you a living expression of the life you desire. Through this alignment, you become the architect of your reality, actively shaping your world from the inside out. Persistence in belief is the steady commitment to hold onto your vision, even when circumstances appear contrary. It is the unwavering faith that your desires are achievable, that what you imagine is not only possible but inevitable if you remain steadfast. This kind of persistence is not about forcing or demanding results immediately. Rather, it's about maintaining an unshakable inner conviction despite what the outer world may show. Belief, when consistently nurtured, becomes a powerful force that shapes reality to reflect the inner state you sustain. Often, when we set a goal or create a vision, enthusiasm drives us initially. We feel energized, confident, and full of anticipation. Yet, as time passes and obstacles arise, it is easy to let doubts creep in. The absence of immediate results can make the desired outcome seem distant or unreachable. However, this is the very moment when persistence becomes essential. It is the point where many people give up, allowing temporary setbacks to undermine their belief. But true creation requires consistency, a willingness to hold on even when evidence is scarce. Each time you choose to believe, you reinforce that belief, making it stronger and more resilient. To be persistent in belief, you must cultivate patience and trust. Patience is not passive, it is an active practice of staying true to your vision, regardless of how long it takes. When you resist the urge to question or doubt, you allow your mind to stay focused and clear. Doubt divides energy, scattering it across conflicting thoughts, while belief gathers energy, focusing it on a single, unwavering point. Persistent belief channels this focused energy toward the goal, creating momentum that ultimately manifests in tangible ways. Holding on to belief requires that you resist external validation. Instead, you must find your confirmation within, Outer circumstances are only reflections of past thoughts and beliefs. So if you are aiming to create something new, you must look past current conditions, see them as temporary, knowing that they will soon change to match your inner conviction. This doesn't mean ignoring reality, but rather acknowledging it without letting it dictate your belief. Each time you reaffirm your commitment, regardless of visible results, you are reinforcing the truth that lies within you. Persistent belief also means being gentle with yourself. It's natural for doubts to arise, and there will be moments when the journey feels challenging. In these times, remember that setbacks are part of the process. They test the strength of your conviction and offer opportunities to deepen your faith. Instead of seeing obstacles as signs of failure, view them as reminders to return to your belief. Revisit the vision you hold, feel the reality of it, and trust that it is forming even if you cannot yet see it. Persistence in belief is an act of self-mastery. It requires discipline to focus on the desired outcome consistently, to imagine the feeling of fulfillment even when that fulfillment seems far off. Each day as you recommit to your belief, you are shaping your reality from the inside out. This consistent inner work is what brings the intangible into form. When you persist in belief, you become like a rock amid shifting waves. The outer world may change, but your inner certainty remains steady. Through this persistence, you align with the power that creates all things. You are no longer swayed by temporary conditions or fleeting emotions. Instead, you become a source of stability, a center of creation, allowing your unwavering belief to draw circumstances, people, and events into alignment with your vision. Over time, the physical world will reflect this inner state, and what once existed only in your mind will stand before you as reality. Persistent belief is the key to true creation. It is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, the dream and the achievement. As fuel is the practice of harnessing the power of appreciation to propel you toward your desires and sustain a fulfilling life. Gratitude is often seen as a response to good fortune, but its true power lies in cultivating it as a consistent state of mind, one that acknowledges the gifts already present and attracts even more abundance. Rather than waiting for conditions to improve, gratitude creates a deep sense of satisfaction and aligns you with a higher frequency, allowing you to move forward with purpose and positivity. Fuels transformation by shifting focus from what is lacking to what is already sufficient, turning attention to the blessings around you. This shift in focus changes the energy you bring to each moment, creating a foundation of positivity and contentment. When you appreciate what you have, you create a vibration of abundance. In this state, life's challenges become opportunities for growth rather than sources of frustration. Gratitude is a powerful mindset that reframes setbacks as part of a larger journey, fueling resilience and persistence. By continually giving thanks, you build emotional strength, creating a reserve of inner joy and confidence. This energy of gratitude acts like a magnet, drawing more of what you value into your life. It is said that what you focus on expands, and gratitude is no exception. When you feel grateful, you cultivate an energy that attracts more experiences, people, and circumstances to be thankful for. This is because gratitude signals to the universe that you recognize and appreciate abundance, whether it exists in material form or in the quieter gifts of life, like love, health, and connection. The more you embrace gratitude, the more you resonate with the frequency of abundance, aligning yourself with the very things you seek. Using gratitude as fuel also enhances clarity and purpose. When you focus on what you value, your vision becomes clearer and your path more defined. Gratitude fosters intentionality, inspiring actions that honor what matters most to you. It becomes easier to make choices aligned with your values, letting go of distractions and tuning into what truly enriches your life. This clarity not only strengthens your belief in your ability to achieve your goals, but also helps you recognize the small wins along the way, sustaining motivation and keeping you engaged with the process. Also deepens connections with others, enhancing both personal and professional relationships. Expressing gratitude strengthens bonds, allowing others to feel valued and seen. This sense of connection fuels mutual support, collaboration, and trust. As you express genuine appreciation, you foster a positive environment that encourages growth, cooperation, and kindness. These relationships then become sources of inspiration and support, further fueling you on your journey. Gratitude as fuel is more than a fleeting emotion. It is a practice of living in harmony with the present moment, while inviting even more blessings into your life. When you regularly reflect on and give thanks for your achievements, no matter how small, you reinforce the belief in your own ability to succeed. This belief builds confidence, allowing you to pursue your goals with a greater sense of purpose and joy. Gratitude is both a reflection and a catalyst for a fulfilling life. It is the spark that powers your dreams, the reminder that abundance surrounds you, and the fuel that keeps you moving forward with enthusiasm, faith, and love. In embracing gratitude as fuel, you become more than just an observer of life's gifts. You become a co-creator, actively participating in the flow of abundance. It is in this state of gratitude that life's challenges become smaller, achievements become more meaningful, and the journey itself becomes as rewarding as the destination. In embracing gratitude as the foundation of your life, you transform your journey into one of abundance, resilience, and purpose. Gratitude becomes more than just a feeling. It becomes the very energy that guides, fuels, and sustains you, turning each moment into a stepping stone toward fulfillment. By consistently focusing on the blessings around you and aligning your actions with this energy, you not only attract more of what you desire, but also build a life rich in meaning, joy, and connection. Let gratitude be your steady companion, the source of strength that keeps you moving forward with clarity and peace. Thank you for allowing this message of gratitude to inspire and fuel your journey. Today you stand on the edge of possibility, where the life you dream of is not a distant reality but within reach, waiting for you to claim it. In just 1 month, a month filled with focused vision, inner work, and aligned action, your life can transform. But remember, change does not come from external circumstances, it begins within you. For a moment, that the power to change everything about your life lies within you. It's not locked away in distant places or held by forces beyond your reach, but quietly resting inside, waiting for you to wake up to it. This inner power is not just a concept, it is a force that shapes every part of your reality. To awaken it, you must first recognize that you are not a victim of circumstances, nor are you bound by the past or limited by the opinions of others. You are far more than what appears on the surface, and the ability to create the life you desire is as real as the air you breathe. Everything in your world is a reflection of the beliefs you hold within. What you see, experience, and feel each day is like a mirror held up to the power of your mind. When you shift what you believe to be true about yourself, your life, and what you deserve, everything begins to change. The inner power within you is the silent but mighty force that responds to the beliefs you accept. When you fully accept your creative power, your life becomes a canvas on which you can paint your deepest dreams and desires. To tap into this power, begin by becoming aware of the thoughts that occupy your mind daily. So many of us move through life unaware of the constant stream of thoughts that shape our reality. These thoughts, repeated day after day, become beliefs, and these beliefs dictate what you experience in life. Imagine a garden. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, or negativity, they will grow and become the dominant presence in your reality. However, when you deliberately choose thoughts of love, peace, and abundance, you cultivate a life that reflects those qualities. The journey of awakening to your inner power requires that you develop a new relationship with yourself, one built on acceptance and self-belief. Understand that you are enough as you are right now. Your dreams, your aspirations, the things you long for, they are all clues guiding you toward the life you are meant to live. But first, you must believe that you are worthy of that life. Let go of any idea that you are less than or unworthy, for these thoughts only hold you back from experiencing the fullness of your power. You must also trust in your imagination, for it is through imagination that your inner power comes to life. Everything that exists in your world was once a thought, a vision in someone's mind before it became reality. Similarly, when you envision the life you desire and hold it firmly in your mind, you are beginning the process of creation. But you must believe in your vision and see it as possible. This doesn't mean simply wishing for something or hoping that it might one day come true. It means feeling, knowing, and acting as though it already belongs to you. Embracing your inner power also involves releasing the idea that you need to control everything in your life. Often the desire to control comes from a place of fear, a fear that you are not enough or that you won't receive what you desire. However, once you awaken to your inner power, you realize that your desires are not separate from you. They are part of the path you are meant to walk, and you need not force or struggle to make them real. Instead, focus on embodying the feeling of having already achieved them, and trust that the right opportunities and people will naturally come to you. As you awaken to your inner power, you will find that your life takes on a new depth of meaning. Challenges that once seemed daunting now become stepping stones, each one leading you closer to the life you want. And as you step into this power, you will begin to notice a calm confidence that was once hidden within. It is this power, this sense of quiet strength, that allows you to remain unwavering, no matter the circumstances. When you truly know who you are and what you are capable of, you are no longer at the mercy of the world around you. You are the creator, the architect, and the master of your destiny. Everything you desire is within reach. All you need to do is awaken, believe, and act from the profound power that is already yours. For a moment that your dream life is already yours. Not in some distant future, not when circumstances align, but right now. This is the essence of living in the end, embodying the feeling and perspective of already having what you desire, before any evidence appears in the external world. It's about moving beyond wishful thinking into the certainty of fulfillment, where you mentally and emotionally step into the role of the person you wish to become. By living in the end, you're not passively waiting for something to arrive, you're actively creating the conditions that make it possible. When you choose to live as though your desires are already realized, you are tapping into a powerful principle of the mind. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. Whatever you impress upon it with conviction, it accepts as true and will work relentlessly to bring into being. This is the secret behind living in the end. By nurturing the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are planting the seed of your desire in the fertile soil of your mind, allowing it to grow into reality. In the end is about taking on the emotions, thoughts, and behaviors of your future self. If you desire abundance, begin by feeling and acting as though abundance is already yours. Let yourself imagine what it would be like to live in financial freedom, free of worry and constraint. How would you feel waking up each day? How would you carry yourself? Who would you be in the world? By consistently holding on to this feeling, you naturally start to align your actions, decisions, and perspectives with that reality. The more you embody the person who has already achieved what you desire, the faster you will see your outer world start to reflect it. There's a shift that happens when you live in the end. Instead of feeling like something is missing, you cultivate a deep sense of wholeness and completion. You stop chasing and striving, and instead, you allow things to come to you in perfect timing. This shift removes the energy of lack, which only serves to push what you want further away. When you act from a state of having, you are no longer emitting signals of needing or wanting. This change in vibration opens the door for what you desire to naturally come into your life. Living in the end also requires that you release doubt and avoid looking for proof in the external world. If you're constantly checking for signs that your desire is manifesting, you're essentially affirming its absence. Realize that the outer world is always a reflection of your inner state. When you're secure in the knowing that what you want is already yours, you don't need external validation. Instead, you develop an inner confidence, a deep, quiet assurance that what you've imagined must come to pass. This unshakable belief keeps you steady, regardless of the circumstances around you. When challenges arise or things seem to be moving in the opposite direction, remember that appearances are temporary. The fulfillment you seek is already complete within you. Your job is to stay focused on this inner knowing, trusting that every experience, pleasant or challenging, is part of the process leading you to your desired outcome. The true test of living in the end is maintaining your conviction, even when the outside world contradicts your inner vision. When you can do this, you demonstrate mastery over your reality. One of the most transformative aspects of living in the end is the peace it brings. Instead of feeling anxious or restless, you cultivate a sense of calm and contentment, because you know that your success is certain. You no longer worry about how or when, because you trust that it's already done. This mindset frees you from the need to force outcomes or control every detail. You focus on the feeling of already having what you want and allow the process to unfold naturally. In choosing to live in the end, you are making a powerful declaration to yourself and to the universe you are worthy of your desires, and you believe in the possibility of their fulfillment. This simple yet profound shift changes everything. You are no longer a seeker but a creator, moving confidently in the direction of your dreams. The life you desire is already within you, waiting for you to step into it fully. By living as though it's already yours, you bring it closer with every thought, feeling, and action. And soon, what once felt like a dream will become the undeniable reality of your life. The imagination is often regarded as a simple tool for creativity, yet its potential goes far beyond mere daydreaming. It is the bridge between thought and reality, the power that allows us to step beyond the limitations of the physical world and reshape it in alignment with our desires. When harnessed effectively, imagination can become a potent force for transforming your life. Instead of reacting to what currently exists, imagination gives you the freedom to consciously create new possibilities, painting vivid images in the mind that act as blueprints for future experiences. Your imagination is not bound by the limits of logic or physical constraints. It can take you to places you've never been, show you aspects of yourself you've yet to discover, and let you experience emotions tied to dreams that may seem far from reach. This creative power is accessible to everyone, regardless of circumstances, because it stems from within. Whatever you imagine with genuine conviction, your mind accepts as real. When you picture something in vivid detail, feeling it as though it were happening now, you activate a mental process that begins moving you toward that very vision. One of the key principles of using imagination effectively is consistency. It's not enough to merely imagine what you want once or twice. Regularly immersing yourself in the experience of your desired reality gives your subconscious mind time to absorb it as truth. With repeated imagining, the mind grows familiar with this vision and begins working to make it a part of your lived experience. Just as a sculptor refines their piece with consistent effort, so too must you shape your reality with consistent imagining, refining the details, feeling the emotions, and seeing the images as vividly as possible. When you're engaging your imagination, it's essential to involve all the senses. Bring to life the sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and feelings associated with what you desire. For instance, if you dream of a beautiful home, imagine the view from your window, the feel of the floors beneath your feet, the warmth of the lighting, and the sounds of laughter echoing through its walls. The more real this imagined scene feels to you, the more effectively it imprints itself on your subconscious, which doesn't distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. Can also serve as a powerful antidote to fear and doubt. Often we allow our minds to drift toward worry, filling our imagination with worst-case scenarios. But the same imaginative energy used to build worry can be redirected toward constructive thoughts. When fear arises, instead of fueling it, replace it with a powerful mental picture of success and happiness. This practice shifts your focus away from limitations and onto possibilities, retraining the mind to see beyond temporary obstacles. Another crucial part of harnessing imagination lies in surrendering the need to control exactly how your vision will manifest. When you imagine, don't get tangled in the how. Leave the specifics to a higher intelligence that operates beyond our understanding. Let go of the logical mind's insistence on exact pathways or conditions. The job of the imagination is to create the what and why with clarity, feeling, and conviction. The how will unfold naturally, sometimes in ways more creative and surprising than anything you could have devised. Imagination allows you to transcend limitations imposed by the outside world and focus instead on what you want to create. This focus is not mere wishful thinking, it is the powerful setting of intention. In life, we often experience what we expect, and expectation is a natural outcome of what we frequently imagine. By filling your mind with images of your desired outcome, you set a positive expectation for success. With time, these expectations turn into beliefs, and beliefs turn into reality. You'll find that what once seemed impossible begins to feel entirely within reach. In harnessing imagination, you gain the ability to step into any role you choose, to try on any experience you desire, and to feel emotions that would otherwise only be accessible through actual events. You become, in a sense, an actor rehearsing for the life you intend to live. And just as an actor absorbs the character they play, the more you immerse yourself in these mental scenes, the more naturally you embody the person who lives that reality. To fully realize the potential of imagination, practice daily. Start small, if you must, and allow yourself to grow more vivid and expansive in your visions over time. Spend a few minutes each day creating and feeling a scene from the life you desire, believing in its reality, letting it fill you with excitement and gratitude. The life you want to live already exists in the dimension of thought. Imagination is the key that unlocks it. By using it consistently and wholeheartedly, you turn invisible dreams into visible realities, step by step. With imagination as your guide, your life is limited only by the extent of your own vision and belief. Your thoughts are the seeds from which your reality grows. Each thought carries energy, and the collective energy of your thoughts shapes not only how you feel but also what you experience in life. To discipline your thoughts is to take conscious control over this process, directing your mind toward ideas that serve your highest good, rather than letting your mind drift passively, subject to every passing worry or impulse. Disciplined thinking empowers you to shape your world intentionally. This requires awareness, commitment, and practice, but the rewards are profound: a life of peace, purpose, and aligned action. Disciplining your thoughts begins with awareness. Many people are not fully conscious of their thoughts. They react automatically, allowing their mind to wander through a maze of worries, doubts, and fears. To become aware, start by observing your thoughts without judgment. Take a few moments each day to simply notice the themes of your thoughts. Are they generally positive, hopeful, and focused on growth, or are they filled with fear, regret, or self-doubt? Awareness reveals the patterns you may be repeating unconsciously, giving you a clear picture of where discipline is most needed. Once you are aware, the next step is to choose your thoughts deliberately. Instead of accepting every thought that crosses your mind, start filtering them. Discard thoughts that do not serve you, especially those rooted in fear, anger, or limitation. Replace them with empowering alternatives that align with the life you want to create. If you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough," consciously replace it with a thought like, "I am constantly growing and improving." If you find yourself dwelling on past mistakes, shift your focus to lessons learned and the progress you've made. By redirecting your thoughts consistently, you begin to change the mental landscape from one that may be reactive and chaotic to one that is calm, focused, and purposeful. This discipline requires consistency, and consistency requires patience. Just as a muscle strengthens through regular exercise, your ability to manage your thoughts strengthens with practice. At first, redirecting your thoughts may feel challenging, especially when old patterns are deeply ingrained. However, each time you catch a negative or unproductive thought and replace it with a positive, constructive one, you reinforce a new way of thinking. Over time, these shifts become second nature, and you'll find yourself more naturally inclined toward thoughts that uplift and empower you. A critical part of disciplining your thoughts is letting go of attachment to external validation. Many people shape their thoughts around the opinions and expectations of others, seeking approval or fearing judgment. But when you rely on external feedback to guide your thinking, you give away your power. True discipline means rooting your thoughts in your own values, desires, and goals, regardless of what others might think or expect. This doesn't mean ignoring feedback, but rather maintaining control over which opinions influence your mind. When you detach from the need for validation, your thoughts become more stable, grounded in your authentic self, rather than the shifting views of others. As you discipline your thoughts, you may also find it beneficial to focus on gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful mental practice that naturally orients your thoughts toward the positive aspects of life. By consciously acknowledging what you are thankful for, you shift your attention away from what you lack and toward what you already have. This practice not only brings you inner peace, but also reinforces the belief that you are worthy and capable of attracting more good into your life. When gratitude becomes a regular part of your thinking, your mind is less likely to dwell on negativity or feel threatened by minor setbacks. One of the most valuable aspects of disciplined thought is its impact on decision-making. A mind that is scattered with conflicting thoughts and emotions finds it difficult to make clear, confident choices. But when your thoughts are disciplined, your decisions become more focused and aligned with your goals. You no longer waste energy on second-guessing or doubting yourself. Instead, you move forward with clarity, knowing that your choices are rooted in well-considered intentions. This alignment between thought and action creates momentum, making it easier to pursue your goals with consistency and determination. Disciplining your thoughts doesn't mean suppressing or ignoring negative emotions. It's about learning to manage them constructively. When doubt or fear arises, allow yourself to acknowledge these feelings without letting them control you. Use disciplined thought to address them. Ask yourself if the thought is serving you, and if not, choose to release it. Over time, this approach helps you develop a balanced mind that acknowledges emotions without being ruled by them. In a world where distractions and negativity abound, disciplined thinking is a profound act of self-respect and empowerment. It allows you to move through life with resilience, focus, and inner peace. By disciplining your thoughts, you reclaim control over your mind, transforming it from a passive receiver of life's circumstances into a powerful tool for creating the experiences you desire. With disciplined thoughts, you step into the role of creator, shaping your reality not by chance but by choice, one deliberate thought at a time. Time is a concept that governs much of our lives. We measure progress, success, and even happiness by how quickly things happen. The attachment to time, however, can become a barrier to fulfillment, creating a sense of urgency, impatience, and even frustration when things don't unfold as quickly as we'd like. By releasing our attachment to time, we open ourselves to a state of trust and flow, where we allow life to unfold naturally without feeling pressured by the ticking of the clock. This release is not about disregarding time entirely, but rather about freeing ourselves from the need to control when and how everything should happen. One of the most profound shifts that occur when you release attachment to time is a greater sense of presence. When you stop fixating on the future or worrying about the speed of progress, you allow yourself to fully engage with the moment at hand. This presence not only enhances your appreciation for life, but also enables you to perform at your best without the distraction of constant anticipation. Instead of living in a state of not yet, where you're always waiting for something to happen, you begin to live in a state of now, where you find fulfillment in the present. Attachment to time often creates stress, especially when we're pursuing important goals or desires. The worry that something won't happen soon enough can lead to anxiety and doubt, which only hinders our ability to manifest what we want. When we let go of the need for things to happen on our preferred timeline, we allow ourselves to trust in the natural unfolding of life. This trust is not passive, it's an active choice to believe that everything happens in its own perfect timing. By embracing this mindset, you eliminate the unnecessary pressure that time attachment creates, freeing yourself to focus on growth rather than racing against the clock. Another benefit of releasing attachment to time is that it encourages patience and resilience. When you no longer expect things to happen by a specific date, you cultivate the ability to persist through challenges without becoming discouraged. Imagine a gardener planting seeds. If they were constantly digging them up to check on their progress, the plants would never have the chance to grow. In the same way, constantly questioning why things haven't happened yet only disrupts the natural flow of life. Patience allows you to stay committed, knowing that your efforts are taking root, even if you can't yet see the results. Letting go of time attachment also deepens your trust in the process. When you release the need to control every detail, you give yourself permission to surrender to the flow of life. This surrender doesn't mean giving up on your desires, it means trusting that they will manifest in the best possible way, even if it doesn't match your original timeline. Many of the most fulfilling achievements come not through rigid adherence to a schedule, but through openness to life's timing. Trusting the process means allowing yourself to be pleasantly surprised, open to outcomes that may exceed your initial expectations. When you're no longer bound by time, you create space for inner peace. An obsession with time creates a constant sense of not enough, whether it's not enough time, not enough progress, or not enough achievement. By releasing this attachment, you step into a mindset of abundance, where you recognize that you are exactly where you need to be. This peace is invaluable because it lets you move through life without the weight of time-based expectations. It allows you to focus on quality rather than quantity, presence rather than pace, and growth rather than impatience. A major aspect of releasing attachment to time is realizing that time is a human construct. While clocks and calendars help us organize our lives, the true essence of existence is timeless. Life itself flows outside the bounds of time, evolving in ways we cannot always predict or control. Embracing this perspective helps you detach from the idea that time defines progress. Instead, you come to see growth as an organic process that unfolds at its own pace, guided by forces greater than our human schedules. Releasing attachment to time also empowers you to redefine success. Instead of measuring accomplishments by how quickly they happen, you begin to see success as a function of alignment, growth, and authenticity. This shift lets you pursue goals from a place of joy rather than pressure, knowing that fulfillment isn't about speed but about resonance. When you focus on aligning with your true desires and values, you are far more likely to achieve lasting fulfillment, regardless of how long it takes. Releasing attachment to time is a profound act of self-trust and surrender. It means acknowledging that life's timing is often wiser than our own, and that there's beauty in the unexpected. By letting go of the need for things to happen on a rigid schedule, you open yourself to a flow of experiences that are often richer and more meaningful. Life becomes less about the destination and more about the journey, less about getting there fast and more about fully experiencing every step along the way. To release your attachment to time, you give yourself the gift of freedom. You free yourself from the chains of impatience, worry, and frustration. You allow yourself to embrace each moment, trusting that everything will fall into place as it's meant to. In doing so, you discover a deeper sense of fulfillment, one that isn't contingent on the ticking of a clock, but rooted in the timelessness of your own soul.